Kris Letang is about to join Sidney Crosby and Evgeni Malkin in Pittsburgh Penguins history. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Penguins to Go, your daily dose of Pittsburgh Penguins news and analysis. You can find us on YouTube at Inside the Penguins or anywhere you get your podcasts from. It's a big weekend for the Pittsburgh Penguins coming up. They're coming off of a nice victory last night against the Nashville Predators by a score of 2-0. Important victory for the Penguins as a whole. Important game for Tristan Jarry as a whole as well. Comes back from injury, gets the shutout, looks pretty good doing so. So vibes are pretty good around the team right now. But they have a massive weekend on tap. They're welcoming two of their biggest rivals to PPG Paints Arena for a pair of pivotal matchups. The Boston Bruins remain 5 wins away from the all-time NHL record for regular season wins in 1 year. You know that even though they're about to lock up the President's Trophy and there's nobody that's going to catch them, there's nobody that was going to catch them regardless. They could probably lose out and they'd still get the number 1 seed in the East. They're not going to take it easy. They want to win all those games. They want the record because they're so close to it already. So that's going to be a tough game on Saturday. And on Sunday, despite not being in the playoff hunt, despite hanging on to mathematically not being eliminated by a thread, the Philadelphia Flyers are coming into town on Sunday, and that game carries a little bit more meaning for number 58 in the black and gold. He's expected to hit 1,000 games on Sunday against the Philadelphia Flyers. He will become the 3rd player ever to hit 1,000 games played with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Behind, of course, his battery mates in the Big Three, Sidney Crosby, who did it a few seasons back, and Evgeni Malkin, who was able to eclipse that mark earlier in the season. Letang has been the workhorse of this Penguins defense since taking over that role from Sergei Gonchar. Letang burst onto the scene in 2008, 2009, around that time. He was a 3rd-round pick in the 2005 draft. Yes, Craig Patrick did pretty well for the organization in the 2005 draft, notching both Sidney Crosby and Kris Letang, 2 players that have now become synonymous with the brand, synonymous with winning culture in Pittsburgh for 18 straight seasons. But Letang has been a workhorse really since 2010, because that was the first season that he averaged over 25 minutes of ice time per game. That has now become just another stat for Kris Letang, because he just does that flippantly and has been doing that flippantly for the past 13 seasons. 8 of his previous 11 years have gone over the average of 25 minutes, and he continues to lead this blue line in every phase of the game. He's still the quarterback of the top power play, although some people would like to see him not do that anymore. He's still the most talented, offensively gifted defenseman on the Pittsburgh Penguins roster. He still goes out there and plays the penalty kill, although less now than he has, which is a good thing for him, and he still leads them at 5-on-5 every single night, or almost every single night. Jeff Petrie takes that from him, I believe, like once out of every 5 or 6 games. So he continues to be everything he has been for the Pittsburgh Penguins over the past decade plus. The accomplishment of 1,000 games will just add to the laundry list of Letang's career. He's already in the top 5 in Pittsburgh Penguins history in assists and in points. Not among defensemen, just in general, he is in the top 5 of assists and points in a franchise that has had their fair share of talented offensive players. He's likely also going to finish in the top 10, at least, in Penguins history in scoring goals. As a defenseman, again, that's an impressive thing to do. He's a 2-time NHL All-Star selection, and he is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion in 2016 and 2017. While his focus, and he'll say as much, there's going to be plenty of reporters, plenty of questions being asked, his focus is going to remain on pushing the Penguins closer to another playoff berth. But it'll once again, for everybody on the outside looking in, be a weekend of moments for the Penguins' big three. We saw it when Crosby hit 1,000 games. We saw it when Crosby hit 500 goals against the Philadelphia Flyers. We saw it when Malkin hit 1,000 games. His son surprising him in the locker room in Chicago for his actual 1,000th game. All of the festivities that took place the following game against the Calgary Flames, where they celebrated Gino's 1,000th game. That was back around Thanksgiving. So it's going to be a very, very big weekend in the city of Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Penguins. When all is said and done, Letang is going to be remembered as one of the pillars of one of the greatest eras of Pittsburgh sports. Not just the Pittsburgh Penguins, but of Pittsburgh sports. You think back, you have the We Are Family Pittsburgh Pirates teams. You have the 70s Steelers. You have the late 2010s Steelers. Those defenses were legendary and are remembered as such. You have the 90s Penguins. And then you also have the Crosby era Pittsburgh Penguins. And Letang is a massive, massive part of that. The big three used to be a big four, of course, with Marc-Andre Fleury. But even as the business of the league has started to creep into the core, these three guys have remained together throughout it all and have also been playing phenomenal throughout it all. I mean, they're all over the age of 35. And while Letang is not going off on the levels that Sidney Crosby and Evgeni Malkin are this season, he is still going out there and being, on most nights, one of the Penguins' best defensemen. And he's certainly one of the Penguins' most important players to their success. So with all that weight on his shoulders, he has still been able to go out there and be one of the best players, one of the best defensemen, I would say, still in the National Hockey League. Now, he's never won a Norris. He's probably not a Hockey Hall of Famer. But he's going to be immortalized in Pittsburgh. And he should be. There's people that want to clown on his accomplishments, but when you look at the numbers, when you look beyond the numbers at what he's meant to that organization, two-time Stanley Cup champion, so many, 1,000 games played in the organization, so many countless moments for a guy that has done nothing but work. And in a blue-collar city like Pittsburgh, they can appreciate the work he's put in and the job he's done for the Pittsburgh organization. So shout out to Kris Letang. This weekend is going to be something for Letang and his family. It's going to be a weekend of memories, and hopefully the Pittsburgh Penguins can go out there and get two massive wins against two of their biggest rivals. That's going to do it for this episode of Penguins to Go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube at Inside the Penguins, or just search Tip of the Ice-Burgh. That's ICE-BURGH. Tip of the Ice-Burgh, anywhere you get your podcast from, and you'll get episodes of Penguins to Go as well. But that's it for this one. Have a great weekend, Pens fans.